YouTube, how the fudge you doing? Hey guys, Nadeshot today. I'm bringing a brand new video. That first clip that you guys just watched was me using my grappling hook to literally kick TBNR frags in the teeth mid-air. So naturally, I had to make sure that was the first clip in the video. Scumbag Nadeshot. Preston, I'm sorry, man. GG's. You played well this entire event. So that brings me to the topic of this video. Guys, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a Titanfall 2 highlight reel and essentially just going to be a review of the game. Now, before we go any further, I want to let you guys know that this is a sponsored video coming from EA, but is not going to stop me from giving you guys an unbiased and neutral opinion about this game so that you guys can make your own educated decision on whether you want to pick this game up. Now, it is available. The game has come out on the 28th, so some of you guys probably are already playing it, but I want to let you guys know what I feel about the game, like the good, the bad, and everything in between. So let's not waste any time. Let's get it started. So you guys know, out of all my rants when it comes to the shooter genre, that I am just not a fan of verticality and fast time to kill. And that's what a lot of this game is. So not all of it, but most of it, it revolves around, you know, dying very quickly. It's very fast paced, and there is that core movement around wall running and verticality. Now, even though that's the case, I am not going to give this game a thumbs down right away. I want you guys to get a broader perspective of what I experienced in all the games that I played. I told you guys I went to the studios. They invited a bunch of YouTubers and a lot of different community members in the Titanfall world. And I'm not sure if it was the camaraderie of us all playing in the same room, if everybody was just super competitive, but it really reminded me of the old school days where we would just get a bunch of my buddies in a room and land together and just nerd out in some video games. So it was a lot of fun for me. Like, I had a great experience while playing this game. Now, if you put me really in any shooter, if I'm not that familiar with it, as soon as I get my hands on the controller, for the most part, I can hold my own and do pretty well. And I'd say I did that throughout this entire session. So even though with the verticality and the fast time to kill usually are very big negatives for me, I still managed to have a ton of fun. So let me tell you what they did really, really well. The game engine that you're going to play with on Titanfall 2 is incredibly intuitive. It has incredible hit detection, and you never have to worry about whether your bullets are going to hit or where you're going to run if you try to hit the wall or really anything like that. The game does exactly what you would think it would do when you input any type of controls in your keyboard and mouse or your controller. So in that sense, like, the game is great just from movement and just intuitiveness. Now, I say that a lot because I feel like developers are getting really good at nailing that feel. So like this gun right here, the iron sights, it had me having so much fun. I'm not sure if it's the audio file. I'm not sure if it's just the way the gun functions. But for me, it's always small nuances that make me attached to a gun. And I've talked about this many a time when it comes to Call of Duty. And I had that experience with a lot of different guns. You know, they have assault rifles, they have SMGs, and they have tons of custom options. Oh my God, they have tons of customizable options. So for me, like, the biggest things that really get me addicted to games is it has to feel good. As long as the game isn't clunky, normally I can have a pretty good time. And if they add in customization, which in the last couple years, I just discovered that I really enjoy making my character look badass and trying to have other gear that other players don't. So right off the rip, those two things are positives in my mind. So like, there was never really any moment where I just thought this game didn't work. It always just functioned exactly how I wanted it to. So I got to give a thumbs up in that regard. Now, the maps in themselves, they don't really have a lot of symmetry. You know, you see trails of like the standard 3 map design in a lot of different ways, but not always. I was having a hard time remembering where I was, and there wasn't really like a lot of distinctive points of interest in maps where I could, you know, get a good feel after a couple plays where I was. But, you know, that just comes with time. Normally, I like to see developers stick with the normal 3-lane map design, but with a game like this, of this caliber and this size, especially since it's not just player versus player, like you have these big, gigantic titans that get introduced into the world, I think that's the reason why you don't see like these small, concentrated areas. And I'm going to tell you guys straight up, I'm not a big fan of Titans. I know the entire game is based around Titanfall, but I truly believe, like, if this game itself were just pilots versus pilots, the game itself would be so much fun. And you can avoid the Titans, which is my plan when I pick up the game. Like, I'm going to be playing this throughout the next week because I did have that much fun with it, but you probably won't see me dabble with the Titans. That's just my personal preference. Some of you guys might be into that entire notion of the storyline and the way they incorporate it into multiplayer, but I don't like long, drawn-out battles. I really like instant gratification. Like, if I take a shot and my shot's hit, I want you to drop so I can move on to the next target. And so, I don't know. I'm so picky. Like, I like a game to be fast-paced, but I don't want it to be too slow. It's got to be, like, right in that sweet spot. So, for me, like, I want to play the pilot versus pilot mode only, and that's really the only thing that I will be dabbling with. But I also will be playing the campaign just because I've gotten a preview of the storyline, and it just looks like a whole lot of fun. This is the first time Respawn as a company has done a single-player campaign, so I'm highly anticipating that. But for me, just going over the basics of what makes a shooter good, maps, I'm really kind of in the middle. I'm indecisive. I'm not sure if I enjoy them or if I didn't. Like, it's kind of just like, it's like a gray area for me. Guns, we already talked about it. The SMGs, the assault rifles. You have sniper rifles, which are essentially impossible for me. I don't know if I just don't have any thumbs, but the sniper rifles were so difficult, dude. I swear to God, because there really isn't any aim assist. So I kind of stayed away from them because I was embarrassing myself. But the assault rifle SMG, that's really always my class anyways. I had a lot of fun. Now, there are inconsistencies in this game. So every loadout that you make, they all have traits. So I was using a grappling hook, which is a lot of fun. I actually, in this game, at the bottom left, you guys can see it next to my grenade, I'm using stim. So that gives you like an extra boost of health, and it makes you a little bit faster. And then, like I said, in previous games, you guys saw me using the grappling hook, which was one of my favorites overall, just because it allowed me to fly around the map a lot quicker than other players. I know they have active camo. You know, it's just a lot of customary things that we've seen in a lot of shooters in the last couple years. So the problem with that is that it adds inconsistencies. I kind of relate it to Specialists in Call of Duty. So for me, like, that's kind of like a negative. Like, I really just don't want to deal with that. And then also, which it's really, now let me say this. It's really fun when you have this perk, and it really sucks when you don't have it. But after a while, if you get a couple kills, you're able to amp up your weapons. And if you hit right on the D-pad, it'll essentially make your weapon more powerful. So that also adds a little bit of inconsistencies. You guys actually left on the D-pad. You guys just saw me enable it. So now I'm just going to absolutely melt people. And so, like, sometimes when you die, you're not really sure if it was because someone outplayed you or if it was because of an amped weapon. I mean, it doesn't happen too often, but when it does, you kind of have a sour taste in your mouth. So, like, overall, what I'm trying to get at is Titanfall 2 has a lot of great things going for it, but it also has a lot of things that, for me, as like my personal opinion, I'm not a big fan of some things in the game, but I am a fan of some things in the game. Oh my God, what the fuck am I talking about? I'm a fan of the guns and the way they work. I'm a fan of the movement in certain cases. I'm a fan of the maps to a certain degree. And I really am looking forward to trying out the campaign. I'm not a fan of the inconsistencies that are essentially added into the game with like perk and loadout attributes and then amped up weapons. I'm not a big fan of the Titans. Overall, I would give this game like 1 thumbs up out of 2, but I'm still going to play the full game and try to get a better impression of it. I just wanted to give you guys some insight as to the things that I liked and the things that I didn't like so that you guys can have, a good chance of judging the game and figuring out if you want to buy it or not. Now, you guys will be able to find out more with the full game, but that was just the amount of intel that I could grab for you guys while playing for a couple games, a couple hours throughout the day. I hope you guys found this helpful in any type of way. If you guys did, I would really appreciate it if you dropped a thumbs up. Again, thank you Respawn and EA for the opportunity to play the game and really share my thoughts with the world on what Titanfall 2 means to me. Shouts to Respawn. You guys did a fantastic job. A lot of work goes into these games, and me as a player, I truly appreciate that. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for watching, and YouTube, we'll see you fudging later. Goodbye.